capitalism, all of the gains in automation, it goes to the owner class. All you have to do is have everyone be an owner, and now suddenly any gain in automation is a gain for everybody. If you grow just one thing, it may not grow as well as if it grows with another thing. A good example of that is called the Three Sisters method of farming.
There is definitely multi-apartment buildings or multi-families that do passive design.
$100 million that they gave to Joe Rogan that they would kind of be out if they breach contract. Is that a bigger number? Or is 2 billion a bigger number?
I don't know, Zach.
It's a tough one. I
It's
know.
really hard.
And maybe comparing numbers is not Jeremy's strong suit. Gotta go kill a Jenny.
I still don't think you should kill her. I don't think it's a good idea.
It's a ghost, dude. Welcome back, everybody, to Bread Theory. Tonight we are going to be covering someone who I have not covered yet on this channel, that being Thomas Sankara, who was a revolutionary in Africa, believed in a sort of pan-Africanism bound together by communism, basically. I don't actually know that much about him, though, so probably before we get into the actual text, we'll do a little bit of a background because it'll help me out too. But the title tonight is going to be A United Front Against Debt. So we'll see what he has to say about that one. Let's see when this came out in 1987. So this is a little bit newer compared to a lot of the stuff we've been reading. So that'll be good. Get a more of a modern perspective. Still, coming up on 40 years old, but yeah. So let's see. And as always, if anyone has any questions, you're not understanding part of the text, or you just having some comments you would like to share, feel free to do so. This is a place of learning. Only bad questions here are the ones asked in bad faith. That's what I always like to say. Before we get started too, I'll go ahead and shout out. Actually, first, let's put in the chat the current book that we're going to be reading. I'll bring the video up on screen as well. So as always, as pretty usual, we're using Socialism for All. Really great YouTube channel. I highly recommend you subscribe to them as well. I'll even link their page in the chat. This thing will close. So there you go. Check out Socialism for All. I think of all the audiobooks on YouTube that I've come across, I would say his stuff is the best, just far and away. Very clear and precise in his voice, good pacing, and likes to add commentary in some of the more difficult parts of a given text, which I think always helps a lot. So yeah, can't recommend them enough. But I also want to mention that Bread Theory is a part of Left Signal Boost TV, which is a creator collective. We have all sorts of creators that are a part of it. We have artists, we have podcast creators, we have streamers, YouTube video producers, video essayists, authors, all sorts of leftist creators on there. So if you or someone you know would like to join up with us and help us collectively push back against the YouTube, well, not just the YouTube, but mainly the Facebook algorithm, Bebo, and other right-wing jerks, then yeah, send us a message. But I'll put it in the chat right now. So go check out. Oh, did not. Trying to copy and paste that one. Why is it? There we go. For some reason, the wrong link was pulled up. My mistake. So yeah, Boost TV. I like to think it is a little bright spot of Facebook. otherwise not great social media platform. I mean, are there any good social media platforms these days? None are really springing to mind. I mean, even, yeah, Twitter certainly not. Maybe Truth Social end up being that good platform for rational discourse. I actually post this stuff to Truth Social as well, and I get follows all the time from just the most random reactionary people. Never say anything, never comment in any of the videos or anything. So I wonder how they even find me. It's kind of funny, but just keep fishing there. Just keep trolling those waters. I think eventually I'll get a bite or two, get some reactionary outrage or something. But my God, what? And it is exactly as you would imagine it. It is every bad right-wing idea just amalgamated into an endless stream of anger and ignorance. And it's basically just a Twitter clone anyway. People that can't cut it on Twitter. Too reactionary for Twitter. So there's that. All right. Well, there may be some people joining at different parts of the stream. I like to send an open invitation. So that's another thing I should mention. If you would like to be a guest on the show, share your opinions. You know, it doesn't matter if you're an academic scholar or if you've never even cracked the Communist Manifesto, or if you're just, you know, like someone who likes to share opinions. I like getting a wide range of ideas and backgrounds and whatnot. So if you'd like to be on the show, wherever you are seeing this, send me a message and I can hook you up, make you part of the Bread Theory Green Room, which I've just created, which just makes it easier to get guests on. So I put my invitation to join the stream out there before every stream, and then just kind of whoever shows up and wants to participate, just go with that. So far it's worked out pretty well. There was a lot of people last week that made their way through on the stream at one time or another. So it was a lot of fun. Oh, and then I went and never shared that. So anyway, and there's Left Signal Boost TV. I forgot to press the share, but no worries. All right, I think this is going to be it for now. This is a rather shorter one, so if we get through this, perhaps we'll pull up another one by Sankara. Oh, that's right. We were going to start first, though, by learning a little bit of background history about it. So I'm just going to read from Wikipedia a little bit here. Born in 1949, lived until October of 1987, was a Burkinabe military officer, so that's Burkina Faso, an African country, a Marxist revolutionary, and a Pan-Africanist who served as president of Burkina Faso from his coup in 1983 to his deposition and murder in 1987. Viewed by supporters as a charismatic iconic figure of revolution, he is commonly referred to as Africa's Che Guevara. After being appointed prime minister in 1983, despite disputes with sitting government led to Sankara's eventual imprisonment. He was under house arrest. A group of revolutionaries seized power on his behalf in a popularly supported coup later that year. Age 33, Sankara became the president of the Republic of Upper Volta. He immediately launched programs for social, ecological, and economic change, and renamed the country from the French colonial name, Upper Volta. Oh, I didn't even know it had a different name. Well, there you go. To Burkina Faso, land of incorruptible people. Wow, that's a pretty cool name. When its people, with its people being called Burkinabe, upright people. His foreign policies were centered on anti-imperialism, while he rejected aid from organizations such as the International Monetary Fund. That's probably a wise decision. They don't give that money for honorable reasons. Sankara welcomed foreign aid from other sources, but tried to reduce reliance on aid by boosting domestic revenues and diversifying the sources of assistance. His domestic policies were focused on preventing famine with agrarian self-sufficiency and land reform, prioritizing education with a nationwide literacy campaign, and promoting public health by vaccinating more than 2 million children against meningitis, yellow fever, and measles, which saved the lives of 18,000 to 50,000 children annually. Wow, that's amazing. His government focused on building schools, health centers, water reservoirs, and nearly 1,000 kilometers of rail with little or no external assistance. Oh, looks like someone is wanting to join. And it is Trisha. Hello, Trisha. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad at all. So I was just going through a little backstory or back information for Thomas Sankara before we get into the text.
Awesome.
Did you get another haircut?
No, I just don't have it like
it's not up?
It's just down and curly right now.
Well, it's looking nice anyway.
Thank you. I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
I've been having fun with being able to play with different styles with this.
Yeah, that's cool. Very cool.
And I'm loving this artwork of Thomas Sankara that you got on the back.
Yeah. I just rapidly happened upon it when I was looking for a background to use for this stream. So yeah, I like it a lot too. It's very cool. All right, so back to the biography of Sankara. So far, he's sounding a lot like I guess they would call it a sewer socialist. They focus on infrastructure and improving things like education and public infrastructure and stuff like that. So far, I mean, I don't know why anyone would be against that to the point of wanting to murder him, but I guess we'll continue reading on. On the local level, Sankara called on every village to build a medical dispensary and had pharmacies built in 5,384 out of the 7,500 villages. That's pretty amazing.
Hell
From
yeah.
1982 to 84, the infant mortality rate dropped from 208 per 1,000 births to 145. Wow, that's pretty good. I wonder what the U.S.'s infant mortality rate is. I don't think it's that great.
It's like that, honestly.
Yeah.
For both
Cool.
mothers and babies. You know, it's
Yeah. Yep.
it's horrific.
Yeah. Greatest nation on earth, though. That's what we got.
Sorry for the facial expression. That's just what happens every time that I hear people call this place the greatest nation on earth. And I'm like, have you ever fucking been anywhere else? Because
Right.
it's not. It's really fucking not.
No, it's definitely not. So school attendance under Sankara increased 10%. That's a huge gain. Yeah, it's more than tripling. Moreover, he outlawed female genital mutilation, forced marriages, and polygamy. So, wow, a lot of feminist rights being instituted. He appointed women to high governmental positions and encouraged them to work outside the home and to stay in school. As an admirer of the Cuban Revolution, Sankara set up a Cuban-style committees for the defense of the revolution. As such, he prioritized gender equality, slashed the wages of his top officials, and set up popular revolutionary tribunals to prosecute public officials charged with political crimes. This all sounds really great. And corruption, considering such elements of the state counter-revolutionaries, as they would be, taking advantage of their position that way. The latter programs led to criticism by Amnesty International and other non-governmental organizations for violations of human rights. Well, that's strange.
When he was eradicating things that were violations of human rights, like the female genital mutilation.
Yeah, getting rid of corrupt government officials. So anyway, they alleged that there were a number of extrajudicial executions and arbitrary detentions of political opponents. Okay.
If those guys were as trashy as they sound from the shit that they were still, he fucking removed them from power, maybe they deserved that. Just saying.
Could be.
I mean, if we're talking people who were keeping those other laws in place that you just listed that Sankara revoked or overrode,
Right.
yeah, they kind of fucking needed to go. If they're like, no, we need to bring back cutting off clitorises and fucking, you know,
Yeah.
That's one of those things that just makes me fucking cringe. And I feel
I know. Oh, me too.
About genital mutilation, it's fucked up. It's all fucked up.
Yeah. I mean, male genital mutilation tends to not be as bad. It's not. It does not completely rob men of any sort of sexual pleasure, as it can with female genital mutilation. But yeah, I agree. There's no reason for either.
Right.
I didn't have either of my boys circumcised, and I'm glad that I was not pressured into it, because there's just no reason for it. It's not that hard of an appendage to clean.
Right. All those old about it's better for cleanliness are bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about we just teach you how to properly wash, little one? This is how you bathe.
Exactly.
Easy. You don't have to traumatize your baby and inflict severe pain on them, you know? I mean, for fuck's sake. Like, the fact that there's even still, to this day, places that practice that, they need some Sankara in their life, okay?
Yeah.
Fucking real.
For real. So moving on with his bio here. Sankara's revolutionary programs for African self-reliance made him an icon to many of Africa's poor, and Sankara remained popular with a considerable majority of his country's citizens, though some of his policies alienated elements of the former ruling class. Oh, boo-hoo! Poor little rich kids can't have their toys anymore. These antagonistic groups included the Burkinabe oligarchy, tribal leaders who were stripped of their long-held traditional privileges of forced labor and tribute payments. Oh no, he did away with slavery and tribute to these basically royalty. That's what a tragedy for them. Right.
Like they can try their fucking beer about it. I don't feel bad for them for losing privileges that they never should have had.
Absolutely, 100%. And the governments of France and its ally, the Ivory Coast, which had previously dominated the nation through colonial power. Oh, so he kicked out the colonists. Oh, God, what a monster. So he was assassinated October 15th of 1987 by troops led by Blaise Compaoré, I probably butchered that one, who assumed leadership of the state shortly thereafter. I wonder why he was assassinated. I'm going to try and scroll down and see if we can find a quick summary of that one. Let's see, assassination. So he was killed by an armed group with 12 other officials in a coup d'etat organized by his former colleague Blaise Compaoré, which accounted for his overthrow. When accounting for his overthrow, Compaoré stated that Sankara jeopardized foreign relations with former colonial power France and neighboring Ivory Coast, and accused his former comrade of plotting to assassinate opponents. So instead, he assassinated him, and Prince Johnson, a former Liberian warlord allied with to Charles Taylor and killer of the Liberian other president whose last hours of life were filmed, told Liberia's Truth and Reconciliation Commission that it was engineered by Charles Taylor after the coup, and mounted an armed resistance to the army for several days. Okay, so they just wanted to get back in good with colonists, and yeah.
Yeah.
That's really tragic.
I think that was kick-ass of him to be decolonizing the fuck out of the place.
Absolutely.
You know? we need to decolonize everywhere that's still got fucked up colonization things going on. I mean, hell, there's places still paying France off for, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Okay with leaving? Like, why should you have to pay colonizers to leave?
Oh, Haiti paid reparations to the former slave owners for like decades to France.
If it should have been the other fucking way around.
Yeah, right? But instead they're paying for theft of property, meaning people who are no longer slaves. That's theft of property. And it's one of the reasons that Haiti is I believe still, if not the poorest nation, one of the poorest nations on earth. That's a big part of it, because they could never pay enough.
Right. Like, how are you supposed to pay up the, like, you fucking kidding me? The slavers should have been paying off the people that they fucking enslaved, not the other goddamn way around.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, we should look more into the history of Haiti. There's a lot there that I think is pretty relevant today. But anyway, tonight it's Thomas Sankara. So let's get into the text right now.
Oh.
Hey, welcome to Socialism for All. This file is being recorded for the October 2021 edition of Socialism for All, and it's an audiobook and discussion of A United Front Against Debt by Thomas Sankara from 1987. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe, and consider supporting on Patreon. There's a link to Patreon in the video description. So, this speech was delivered in French on 29 July 1987 at the summit of the Organization of African Unity, OAU, held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The source of the translation into English is Thomas Sankara, A United Front Against Debt, Viewpoint Magazine, online, published 1 February 2018, accessed 20 October 2019. This is a modified translation of Thomas Sankara's speech, Discours sur la Front Uni contre la Dette, delivered at the 1987 Organization of African Unity Conference, held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The present version comes from both a subtitled video recording of the address as well as a recent English translation, published in Documenta 14, South as a State of Mind. This edition is at the Marxists Internet Archive, published October 2019, and this translation is made available by Viewpoint Magazine under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial 3.0 Unported license. Thanks as usual to the Marxists Internet Archive at marxists.org for hosting this file and thousands of other free Marxist texts. Please go check them out. Now let's get into the text. Mr. President, heads of delegations, at this moment I would like for us to speak about another pressing issue, the issue of debt, the question of the economic situation in Africa. It is an important condition of our survival as much as peace, and this is why I have deemed it necessary to put several supplementary points on the table for us to discuss. Burkina Faso would like, first of all, to talk about our fear. Our fear is that there are ongoing United Nations meetings, similar meetings, but less and less interest in what we are doing. Mr. President, how many African heads of state are present here when they have been duly called to come speak about Africa in Africa? Mr. President, how many heads of state are ready to head off to Paris, London, or Washington when they are called to a meeting there, but cannot come to a meeting here in Addis Ababa in Africa. I know some of them have valid reasons for not coming. This is why I would suggest, Mr. President, that we establish a scale of sanctions or penalties for the heads of state who do not presently respond to the call. Let's make it so that through a set of points for good behavior, those who come regularly, like us for example, can be supported in some of their efforts. For example, the projects that we submit to the African Development Bank should be multiplied by a coefficient of Africanness. The least African should be penalized. With this, everyone will come to the meetings. I would like to say to you, Mr. President, that the debt issue is a question we cannot hide. You yourself know about something in your country where you have to make courageous decisions, reckless even, decisions that do not seem to be related to your age or gray hair. His Excellency, the President Habib Bourguiba, who could not come but had us deliver an important message given this other example in Africa, when in Tunisia for political, social, and economic reasons, has also had to make courageous decisions. But Mr. President, are we going to continue to let the heads of state individually seek solutions to the debt issue at the risk of creating social conflicts at home that could put their stability in jeopardy and even the construction of African unity? The examples I have mentioned, and there are others, warrant that the UN summits provide a reassuring response to each of us in regards to the debt issue. We think that debt has to be seen from the perspective of its origins. Debt's origins come from colonialism's origins. Those who lend us money are those who colonized us. They are the same ones who used to manage our states and economies. These are the colonizers who indebted Africa through their brothers and cousins, who were the lenders. We had no connections with this debt. Therefore, we cannot pay for it.
Fuck yeah.
All facts.
Right?
Debt is a huge tool of colonialism, and it's used on even the people that live within the imperial cores of these colonial nations. It's literally a way to almost enslave people, basically make them a debt peon. That's its main function, is to take wealth from those that have the least of it. Because, I mean, if you need a loan of some kind, that means you don't have the money to begin with. And just take that money and put it in the pockets of those that have more. And put in all sorts of clauses and legalese to confuse and swindle the people who are agreeing to it. So, yeah.
Right. And it's like the colonizers who took out those loans were probably using those to fund their enslavement operations. Like, why the fuck should anybody who they were colonizing and enslaving be responsible for that debt? That's
Absolutely.
just screwed up. That's one of those things of like, okay, you basically had an unethical business model, and now because somebody told you you're not allowed to enslave us anymore, your enslavement business failed, you're the one that defaulted, not the people
Right.
you were exploiting.
Right. Yeah.
So pay your own fucking cousin back.
Yeah. So he's smart to be wary of anyone who's coming in offering cheap money. It always comes with 1,000 more strings than it presents itself as.
Yep.
And the IMF did this all over Africa. Continues to do this all over Africa.
Yeah.
Just trying to get entire nations in debt to the already powerful ones, so they can extract concessions.
The IMF has done that over the last 8 years with Ukraine too, and that's part of why the current shit show is happening.
Yeah.
The United States isn't the only one that funded that Nazi coup. The IMF helped.
Really? I had not heard about anything like that.
There's, remind me later. I actually meant to share these links in one of our other shows a few weeks back and totally blanked. I need to send you the link for the Google Drive that I have of all of the evidence on that stuff.
Wow, yeah. I'd definitely be interested to see that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Fuck the IMF.
Yeah, fuck the IMF. Yeah, that no good.
Right.
I mean, even on a micro level, look at the booming of student loan debt in America and the reasons for it. A big reason for that was to rein in the college radicals who were protesting the Vietnam War. They were afraid of their power to organize, and so from that point on, they just kept allowing college fees and tuition to go up and up and up, allowed colleges to be run more like businesses, and then did stuff like what Biden did, and made it impossible to discharge your student loan debt. And it can even be transferred to, your descendants and your other family members.
Straight up?
Certain cases. I know, like, anyone that co-signed on your loan, for sure, they can be on the hook for it. And I think potentially your spouse can be as well. I don't know that for sure. I'd have to double check that. But yeah, it's pretty insidious, and it is all to get the hooks in the intellectual class, so that they don't keep spreading their Marxist ideas and stuff that they learn at college, even though most of them don't even learn that stuff. But yeah, debt is just a screwed up system. There's nothing good about it, and there's no reason for it either. There's no reason we couldn't just, as a society, collaborate with one another to provide everything that we need, that we get with debt, whether that's a house, whether that's education, whatever it may be.
Right.
So, yeah, just a predatory system, top to bottom.
Every fucking bit of it.
Debt is neocolonialism, in which colonizers have transformed themselves into technical assistants. We should rather say technical assassins. They present us with financing, with financial backers, as if someone's backing could create development. We have been advised to go to these lenders. We have offered nice financial arrangements. We have been indebted for 50, 60 years, and even longer. That means that we have been forced to compromise our people for over 50 years. Under its current form, controlled and dominated by imperialism, debt is a skillfully managed reconquest of Africa, intended to subjugate its growth and development through foreign rules. Thus, each one of us becomes the financial slave, which is to say a true slave, of those who had been treacherous enough to put money in our countries with obligations for us to repay. We are told to repay, but it is not a moral issue. It is not about this so-called honor of repaying or not. Mr. President, we have been listening and applauding Norway's Prime Minister when she spoke right here, the Gro Harlem Brundtland. She is European, but she said that the whole debt cannot be repaid. Debt cannot be repaid, first because if we don't repay, lenders will not die. That is for sure. But if we repay, we are going to die. That is also for sure. Those who led us to indebtedness gambled as if in a casino. As long as they had gains, there was no debate. But now that they suffer losses, they demand repayment. And we talk about crisis. No, Mr. President, they played, they lost. That's the rule of the game, and life goes on.
Yeah, isn't that funny how those who lend debts never really take any risk? It's always the person who's being lended to who's expected to be on the hook for everything. And there's plenty of programs that will bail out bankers if they make bad loans. Like, I mean, that's exactly what happened with the 2008 crash. Yeah. Banks got bailed out, and people did not.
Right. Our fucking tax dollars went to them.
Yeah. Like, if there was any time in American history where it would have been good to just have like a complete debt jubilee, just let's wipe all the slates clean, not just those of the irresponsible corporations, but let's just wipe out everyone's debt. That would have been it. But instead, because in America, the people that have the money are just automatically seen as being more virtuous and deserving of it, that never came to be. Never even on the table.
They literally rape everyone's fucking wallets, and then we're like, but you gotta pay us for that.
Right. Right.
Like, wait a minute, you just fucked us out of housing, you fucked us out of so many fucking things with that whole crash.
Yeah.
Why the
I
fuck
mean,
did we pay them for having fucked us?
yeah. And, a big thing that catalyzed Occupy, which was, 3 years after that big crash, was the fact that people were still getting evicted constantly,
Yep.
for being given predatory loans. Like, they went on and on during the crash. Oh, these predatory lenders, predatory lenders. Well, did they do anything about the victims of those predatory lenders? It doesn't really seem like it.
But also just like keeps people down because like, okay, if you had a job, had housing, and for whatever reason you get evicted, you potentially risk losing your job and everything else along with that. Like,
Right.
it costs a lot to be poor.
It really costs a lot to be fucking homeless too. In those
Right.
situations, like, if you're living out of your fucking car and you don't have regular access to things like showers and laundry,
Right.
you're gonna get fired.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You work in a place where you're working in person. If you're working online, you can get away with it to a certain extent.
Right.
But
Right.
But
how long could you work online if you can't pay for internet and other things? Like, people aren't gonna let you hang out in some space or whatever if you smell like a dumpster.
Yeah.
right,
They're
Not
gonna
even
kick you
McDonald's.
out.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
they'll be like, sorry, but you need to shower. People are here to eat.
Right.
Man, I'd really love to cover David Graeber's Debt the First 1,000 Years, because that goes into just how much debt is just a tool of control. But it is a fairly recent book, so maybe we could do it if we did it like a book club and we just read a chapter every week and then came back to discuss it rather than doing it live. But
What if we read it live?
well, yeah, that's
Or is
still. I mean, you're definitely violating copyright. Whether or not they
Oh,
would catch
okay.
us and really want to do anything about it, I don't know. Because I would bet that it exists on YouTube. In fact, let me check real quick. Well, hello, Nate. How you doing tonight? So Nate says it costs more to rent an apartment than it does to have a mortgage for a small home. It costs more to rent a hotel room nightly, like a lot more, yeah, for 30 nights than it does to rent an apartment. The poorer you are, the more it will cost you. Oh, it is incredibly expensive to be poor.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and
Even-
that's. Go ahead.
Even living like I do in an RV,
Mhm.
it gets pretty fucking expensive when it comes to stuff like that. Like, if you have to do stuff like I had to this winter and bounce around a lot where you can't get a place by a monthly rate because they're not fucking available, and you might get a night or two here and a night or two over there, and then you go to this other campground and a night or two here. You're paying the highest fucking rates, and it's fucking expensive to be high level homeless.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, so just looking on YouTube here, I found a couple versions of Debt the First 5,000 Years. Always got to be careful with that, not to get copyright striked, but it'd be interesting to do that one. Very interesting.
How could they hit you with the copyright infringement just for reading a book?
Because it's copywritten information, you know.
'Cause, I mean, I don't know
Chapters
how
are
many
long.
books we've gotten our hands on, whether it be buying a copy or finding a digital copy or something, and
Yeah.
have just read our
Usually if you can avoid the version that they have on like Audible or whatever, then you can get away with it because like even the first chapter we did of People's History of the United States got taken down because of copyright, because I think the first source that I used must have been the Audible one, because otherwise it's been fine. I switched to a different version. It's been fine since then. So it really depends on if it's just some person who's just doing it out of their own love for the material, I guess, and then they can't track you down.
That's messed
Yeah.
up, because even on Audible, you're paying for that access. To be
You
able
are,
to
but then
do that.
but then they're like, oh, you're giving it out to everyone for free. So you know, that's their justification anyway. I mean, I think copyright is bullshit anyway. Like, you know, information should be free to everyone. I don't believe in making profit without extra labor attached to it. Like you've done the labor to write the book, sure, and then you can put out those books yourself, and whatever you get in revenue, that's fine, but I don't see why everyone shouldn't be able to have that, especially in the digital age when things are infinitely copyable without actually physically taking anything.
Right.
It's basically just a way to enrich already rich capitalists.
Right, because we got to keep that money where it started.
Right.
It's just fucked up. Like, you shouldn't even have to preclude it with, hey, we don't own this, we're using this for educational purpose.
Right. Right. And yes, doing it on this channel would be for educational purposes, obviously, because we sit and we talk about every little bit of the things that we cover, but
Right.
you know, it's usually just like auto tag from the YouTube algorithm, so it's really hard to fight the algorithm. Because I tried to fight that copyright infringement or claim. It wasn't a full strike or anything. It was just like a copyright claim from that first chapter of People's History, and they're like, nope. It was like instantaneous. Like I submitted it, came right back. Nope, nothing doing. Because it was it's like Penguin or something, Penguin Books or something like that, and like, you know, a massive corporation owns that particular version, then
It's just greed.
yeah, well, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Right.
Like, oh, everybody watching your stream didn't also pay the $5 to $10 for the audiobook. What the fuck?
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, it's like
It is.
authors should get a baseline for what they write anyway, right? And then like
Well, that's
they
okay.
would make more money from like events,
Well, I mean,
and they would be like, I don't know.
yeah, no, I'm totally on board with where you're going with that. Like, in a world where all of our basic needs were met, then for one thing, there'd be a hell of a lot more authors and artists and poets and musicians and stuff like that, because people would have that ability to actually choose that sort of a life without having to worry about starving to death. There would be, you would do away with the trope of the starving artist. And then for another thing, it then wouldn't matter if people repurposed their work or redid their work, because for one thing, all art is derivative of a lot of different stuff. It's virtually impossible to have a completely original thought and put it out into the world. So every copyrighted and cordoned off piece of intellectual property is mostly just an amalgam of a whole bunch of other stuff from generations past anyway. So to say, well, no, this is now all mine and I deserve all the compensation for it, doesn't quite hold up.
Right.
But anyway, in a world where we all were provided for, yeah, it wouldn't matter. And there'd be a huge blossoming of creativity, because now all the stuff that people are thinking, well, no, that's, hands off of that one, I don't want to get in trouble for using this or that or the other thing, that would all be available to everyone. And they could mix and match all over the place. There'd be so many new combinations of stuff that no one has thought of right now, because you'd just be free to do so without fear of the big guy coming down on your head.
Right.
So, yeah. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. All right, let's get back to the text.
We cannot repay because we don't have any means to do so. We cannot pay because we are not responsible for this debt. We cannot repay, but the others owe us what the greatest wealth could never repay. That is blood debt. Our blood had flowed. We hear about the Marshall Plan that rebuilt Europe's economy, but we never hear about the African Plan, which allowed Europe to face Lyrian hordes when their economies and their stability were at stake. Who saved Europe? Africa is rarely mentioned, to such a point that we cannot be the accomplices of that thankless silence. If others cannot sing our praises, at least we must say that our fathers had been courageous and that our troops had saved Europe and set the world free from Nazism. Debt is also the result of confrontation. When we are told about economic crisis, nobody says that this crisis has come about suddenly. The crisis had always been there, but it got worse each time that popular masses become more and more conscious of their rights against exploiters. We are in a crisis today because the masses refuse that wealth be concentrated in the hands of a few individuals. We are in crisis because some people are saving enormous sums of money in foreign bank accounts that would be enough to develop Africa. We are in a crisis because we are facing this private wealth that we cannot name. The popular masses don't want to live in ghettos and slums. We're in a crisis because everywhere people are refusing to repeat the problems of Soweto and Johannesburg. There is a struggle, and its intensification is worrying to those with financial power. Now we are asked to be accomplices in a balancing favoring those with the financial power, a balancing against the popular masses. No, we cannot be accomplices. No, we cannot go with those who suck our people's blood and live on our people's sweat. We cannot follow them in their murderous ways. Mr. President, we hear about clubs. The Club of Rome, Paris Club, Club whatever. We hear about the Group of 5, Group of 7, Group of 10, maybe Group of 100. And what else? It's normal that we too have our own club and our own group. Let's have Addis Ababa become now the center from which a new beginning will emerge, an Addis Ababa Club. It is our duty to create an Addis Ababa united front against debt. That is the only way to assert that the refusal to repay is not an aggressive move on our part, but a fraternal move to speak the truth. Furthermore, the popular masses of Europe are not opposed to the popular masses of Africa. Those who want to exploit Africa are those who exploit Europe, too. We have a common enemy. So our Addis Ababa...
That is spot on. We do have a common enemy. That's that intersectionality finally coming in. And that's why it's so important. Because we do. It's not as though being from the US or being from Europe or any of these colonizer places makes you automatically an accomplice to that colonization. You're also a victim of it. And just as it would be good for the exploited countries of the world to throw off the shackles of colonization, it would be good for us too. It'd be good for the average working person to do away with this system that only benefits the very, very few. So yeah, I'm really glad you said that. Alright, moving on.
Baba Club will have to explain to each and all that debt shall not be repaid. And by saying that, we're not against morals, dignity, and keeping one's word. We think we don't have the same morality as others. The rich and the poor do not have the same morality. The Bible, the Quran, cannot serve those who exploit the people and those who are exploited in the same way. It could be used in favor of both sides. There should be 2 different editions of the Bible and 2 different editions of the Quran. We cannot accept to be told about dignity. We cannot accept to be told about the merit of those who repay and the mistrust towards those who do not. On the contrary, we must recognize today that it is normal for the wealthiest to be the greatest thieves. When a poor man steals, it is merely a theft, a petty crime. It is solely about survival and necessity. The rich are the ones who steal from the treasury, customs duties, and who exploit the people. Mr. President.
Yeah, he's getting at what Marx talked about, how there's just an inherent class conflict that cannot be rectified as long as there are different classes. They inherently have different goals and therefore different morality. Of course the rich believe they're justified and right and owning everything and making everyone fork over the fruits of their labor because they are the owners. And of course the poor feel the opposite. They feel, I would say justly, exploited by that sort of an arrangement. And there's no smoothing things over and playing nice as the liberals would like it to be. There's no kinder, gentler form of capitalism that's possible. There's a capitalism that might be good for more people, even maybe a majority of people, or at least a majority of people within a given nation, but it's always going to come at the expense of those at the bottom within that nation and other less fortunate countries around the world where we get a large portion of our labor force and goods and services from.
That's why all of the, I'll put this in loose quotes, all of the socialist countries in Europe only have that capacity because they are still exploiting the fuck out of the global south.
Right.
And tying back into what Sankara was talking about a moment ago with religion being involved, there's an inherent problem there when the wealthy feel entitled to exploit, and they're like, what's wrong with that? This is my role in life. This is my destiny. Why? Because religion teaches manifest destiny bullshit that tells you you are God ordained to have this wealth and the privilege to exploit everyone else.
Yep. Yeah, a big role of organized religion, especially the more powerful ones, is to just reinforce the already existing power structures just from a different perspective. It's from a spiritual level rather than a philosophical or like a non-religious philosophical or logical or whatever sort of point of view, or economic even.
Don't dare bring up ethics. They'll be like, oh, you clutch their pearls.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny too because like so many of them are not willing to talk about how they, well, not how they got their start, but like the financial aspects of it are always so hush-hushed, and just to like, oh yeah, I'm just blessed. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, you're not.
Right.
You were born into wealth. Like, shut up.
Yeah, you got born on third base and you just congratulate yourself for the rest of your life because you managed to make it home.
Right.
Right.
With very little actual effort or very little true cost to yourself.
Exactly.
That's why that's one of those words that really bothers me when it's used in the wrong context, because the only real blessings in this life are the other people around you, dogs, cats.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Those
Dogs get it.
having been born with the silver spoon in your fucking mouth and told that you were entitled to fucking have all of this wealth just come your way from everyone else's labor, that's not a blessing. That's exploitation.
That's exploitation.
Right, and like also, I just don't understand the mentality of like exploiting others to get what you want. It's like, you always hear like, oh, sometimes you have to step on a few people to get ahead.
Ugh.
Why?
No, you don't.
You shouldn't have to step on anybody. You should be able to stand out on merit alone. Hey, this person's really reliable. This person is really knowledgeable about X, Y, and Z. You know, this is who we should.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and just that idea that you have to step on people to get ahead shows the lie of the system, that not everyone then can get ahead, because some people have to be stepped on in order for you to have someone to step on top of.
But also, like, that's just kind of gross.
Oh, absolutely. It's the mentality of a psychopath. You know, psychopaths just compulsively use people to get ahead.
I mean, like, I've always had a hard time trying to, like, move ahead at work. And I feel like there are lots of barriers in that for me personally. But, like, I don't know. I sit now and I think about capitalism and the way the world is, and I'm like, of course the odds are stacked against me.
Yep. Yeah.
Right.
'Cause you just didn't win the lottery of birth.
And being a woman, there's still, that distinction when it comes to everything from your base pay to your opportunities for advancement. And the fact that you are as intelligent and outspoken as you are, you probably as a fucking threat.
Oh yeah, I think, especially just thinking of your last job. Yeah.
If
See, I never
anything that
feel like
comes
a
you,
threat.
well, the thing is, you would want to come in and change things from the inside to improve them and make them better. That's going to be seen as a threat by
That's the
people
threat.
who are like, well, I don't
Right.
like the way this is right now because it conveniences me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I mean, too, I think there are so many other factors in this, like, thing, too. Being a woman, being a big girl, I don't care what anybody says, your physical appearance can hold you back
It can.
under capitalism, for sure.
All right. I mean, even among men, they've found that taller men tend to get raises more often than shorter men. Everything else being equal, just being taller is an advantage. Which makes no sense.
You have no control
Being taller
over
has,
that.
has no bearing on how good I am at most any job, unless that job is to reach the highest shelf in a kitchen. Then okay, then sure, maybe I deserve that raise. But
also, if there's a will, there's a way. You might be able to reach things off the top shelf, but I would know where to find the ladder, and I would know what ladder to use to get the thing off the shelf. Like, just being petty about it, but...
No, you're very true. In most of these cases, it wouldn't take that much to do the same thing, even if you didn't have the natural advantages.
Right. If anything, you could see that as like, oh, this person is resourceful.
Mm-hmm.
This person thinks outside of the box
Mm-hmm.
and isn't going to rely on the silver spoon in their mouth or the genetic code they've been given.
Right. They're just going to get shit done.
That's right.
Right.
Like, the fact that appearance comes into play even with interviewing, let alone moving up once you're in a job, is why places like in Brazil, their healthcare covers things like cosmetic surgery, because they're like, yep, you get judged on your fucking appearance. So if you'd like to go get a nose job, a boob job, fucking whatever it is, so that you are more likely to get hired or be able to advance in your fucking workplace, then you can do so based on your appearance. And it's like, because if anything, we should be ending this shit
the other way.
Sorry if I blew out your eardrums with my screech.
That's okay. I felt that primal scream.
It's so true, though, Zen. Like, you should just be able to be in your body and do the things. Like, acknowledge people where they're at, what they're capable of, and like it or not, your capitalistic fucking system is shit. Everyone has something to offer. Every single person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like, there's a spot for everyone, and I don't know why there's always this mentality, like oh my god, I never say it right. Manufactured scarcities. I hate that.
Oh yeah.
I hate that so much.
That's what capitalism relies on.
It really does. So much. And it's fucked up. It's fucked up. Hell, look at what we're dealing with right now with gas prices going through the fucking roof because of a manufactured scarcity. We don't have a shortage. The price per barrel hasn't fucking gone up. Our fucking imports haven't fucking tanked or something. They want to
but it's that Joe Biden.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Every time there's a Democrat, don't you know, it just goes through the roof.
Right, and it's like the fucking president and anybody else working in his cabinet and anybody, they don't have control over that. The people who have control over the market prices are the ones who own the fucking oil companies.
Yeah,
And
it's
all
OPEC,
price increases bizarre is their feelings
Mhm.
about a Democrat getting fucking elected.
Yeah.
That's them
And
punishing people.
there's so many good reasons to hate Joe Biden. There's no reason to manufacture extra ones.
Like
Right.
the fact that he won't get rid of student loan debt, even though he could, like that.
Yep. Now that's one thing that he does have a lever. He could just flip that debt switch, turn off all the debt for student loans.
But he can't. He said he can't.
Yeah, he said he can't.
How much ice cream am I gonna have to buy that motherfucker to get student loans? I mean, I'll do it.
Yeah.
You want ice cream? Get rid of my student loan debt.
Mhm.
That's the deal, Joe. I know your weakness. Watch him fold like a cheap suit.
Yeah, we should start a national campaign. Just buy Joe a pint for student debt relief.
Yeah.
Dude.
Just send him.
Have people donate.
Yeah.
Get Ben and Jerry's in on it. Ben
There
and
you go.
Jerry's does cool shit all the time.
They could come up with some sort of pun, like what would be a good food debt pun?
Scarcity scream ice cream.
There you go.
The
Get
commercial.
out.
Ah!
Yeah. How about end debtors praline?
Oh, don't say that. Praline's the bomb.
Well, I mean, it would be praline flavored ice cream. They always like
Yeah,
to do the puns though.
I know. I'm just thinking about praline ice cream now. I'm like,
Oh,
love it.
so you don't want to be tempted to buy some praline.
no, I'll buy it.
Praline pecan is my favorite.
It's really good. It's a good flavor.
Have you seen the new Godiva one?
Huh?
Oh
So good.
my bird.
It's like her favorite thing. There.
It's got almonds and praline and Godiva chocolate, and it's so good.
You just made my belly go, huh?
Do it.
I might have to look for that at the grocery store.
Cub. It's a cub.
Then, I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
think they have Cub outside the Midwest, do they?
Oh, come on. Cub's like,
Do they even have Cub in Michigan? Do they have a Cub Foods?
Fuck if I know.
Yeah, okay.
But, I mean, there's a lot of stores, though, that I've seen Godiva ice cream in. So
oh,
I
see,
can cross my fingers and wish and hope and see what
Yeah.
happens.
my fingers are crossed for you.
What is the big grocer down there in Arizona? Is it like Albertsons or something like that?
There's Fry's, which is a Kroger chain, and there's
Kroger,
Winco
okay.
that is. I love Winco. It is completely owner operated. Everybody who
Oh, that's really
works
cool.
at Winco is part owner of that company. They're
That's awesome.
fucking awesome.
That's
Fucking
really cool.
awesome.
That is
Yeah.
nice.
That's cool. Do they have any say in the way things are run, or do they just get like
I do believe so.
shares? Cool.
I do believe they have a say in the running of it. You know, I'd have to
Nice.
check on that though. But if
I mean,
memory
even still,
serves right,
profit sharing is a huge step. Yeah.
Yeah, Rob's been here, so he would probably know a little bit more about the details of that.
Cool.
Because he's the one that told me about that store and showed it to me when I got out here, and I was just like, I love this.
Nice.
Fucking great.
That's awesome.
This is good too, man. I gotta say. Anyway,
Cool.
go Winco.
All right. Yeah. Nice. All right. Let's get back to the text.
My proposal does not aim to simply provoke or create a spectacle. I would just like to say what each one of us thinks and wishes. Who here doesn't wish for the debt to be canceled outright? Whoever doesn't can leave, get into his plane, and go straight to the World Bank to pay.
Or straight to hell.
All of us wish for this. My proposal is nothing more. I would not want people to think that Burkina Faso's proposal is coming on behalf of youth without maturity or experience. I would not want people to think either that only revolutionaries speak in this way. I would want one to admit is really objectivity and obligation. And I can give examples of others who have advised not to repay the debt, revolutionaries and non-revolutionaries, young and old. I would mention Fidel Castro, for example, who said not to repay. He is not my age, even though he is a revolutionary. I would also mention Francois Mitterrand, who said that African countries, poor countries, could not repay. I would mention Madam Prime Minister of Norway, Gro Harlem Brundtland. I don't know her age, and I would begrudge myself to ask her, but it's an example. I would also mention President Felix Houphouët-Boigny. He's not my age, but he officially, publicly, declared that, at least as far as his own country is concerned, Ivory Coast cannot repay. Now, Ivory Coast is among the wealthiest countries in Africa, at least.
I would just like to point out that, he's saying all of these people are agreeing that these poor countries cannot repay. I would like to take a moment to point out something that, Michael Parenti very eloquently pointed out, which is that you do not invade and colonize poor areas. You invade and colonize areas. The fact of the matter is, the Ivory Coast, as well as the majority of Africa, is very rich in mineral resources, oil resources, gemstones, you bucket. The only reason they are poor is because they have been fucking blind.
Oh yeah. That I think that comes right from those yellow tapes of Parenti's, right? His speech.
If I remember right.
We should definitely cover that sometime. Maybe the next time the communist one comes around, we could do yellow tapes, because those are fucking fire, man.
Well, what was it? Ethiopia is the only country in Africa that hasn't been colonized.
Is it?
I'd have to check on it. See, but
yeah, just Ethiopia is the only one that was never colonized.
Wow. And that's a huge continent too. It's many times the size of Europe. It's way bigger than North America. I mean, far larger than even countries like China or Russia. It's a huge landmass, and Europeans have been exploiting the hell out of it for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yep. It's like all these places in fucking Europe just kind of rolled the dice of okay, we'll take this part of Africa, and they fucking just en masse colonized the fuck out of it, robbed it blind, exploited and enslaved people, and it's what the fuck? It's a Europoly.
Yeah, right.
In Europe, to pull all of the strings. Why? Because Africa is literally the wealthiest place on the planet when it comes to resources.
Yep.
There's no fucking excuse for the poverty that's happening because of them being robbed blind.
Right.
In Africa should be wealthy as fuck.
How was it that Parenti put it? He said something like Africa is not overexploited, or not poor, it is overexploited, or something like that.
Yes.
And that's how he put it.
Yes.
I was just reading a little more on Ethiopia to make sure my comment wasn't completely off mark, but the only reason they had never been colonized is because their military is insane.
Fire. Yep. Yep.
And I guess Liberia also hasn't been colonized, so there's two. But still, think about how big Africa is, and only two of those the way we talk about Africa, it makes me think that all of it would have been at some point. So I learned something new tonight.
Well, Ethiopian people are hard fucking core. They've been fighting off invasions since fucking ancient times. So I'm not surprised that they were able to stave off European colonization.
Yeah, they're talking about warrior farmers and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Another fucking foreign horde trying to come in? Fuck you guys.
Right. Yeah, basically. It's try me, bitch.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that.
Find out.
Oh, I love that kind of stuff. I'm sorry. I will end you.
Uh-huh. And they will.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking, they have put a stop to so many foreign invaders trying to come in there. And it's beautiful.
But just like leave them alone.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Maybe that. Or maybe try to be a friend and not a dick.
That,
Yeah.
and that's the thing is, okay, going back hundreds of fucking years before the colony, like, things were actually open to have massive trade routes where everyone benefited, but that wasn't for these greedy Wedico ass motherfuckers from Europe who were like, what? My profit margin could be so better if I was stealing this instead for it.
Yeah.
Fuck. They are literally
Yeah.
sick. They are sick.
Yeah.
Greed, sickness. It's fucked
Yeah.
up.
I just like get excited thinking about like, what if we just bartered for what we needed?
Or just,
What if
you
we
know,
just traded goods and
shared.
services?
What if we just shared? What if
Yeah.
we had a sharing economy that was just based on, hey, I got more of the stuff than I need. Who needs it? Oh, you do? Let's use some simple computer programming to redistribute things from where they are produced to where they are needed.
Right.
Right.
Like, oh, Zen's got some goodies. She's got some good edibles or good weed, and I have some bread, and she's hungry, and I need to calm the hell down. Like,
Right?
trade.
Let's swap. Let's swap.
Right.
I love homemade bread.
Oh, she makes
know?
really good homemade bread too. She's been on a big kick with that.
Yeah, I can stop anytime I want.
No, you can't.
I
You're in
won't.
all the way now.
I know, because now I'm like looking at making like sun butter and peanut butter and jelly.
Hell yeah.
I should find out how to ship. I could ship you some.
That would be awesome.
You should.
You have a
That would-
P.O. box, right?
No, but what I've been doing is just getting mail at the RV park. I just
Okay.
switched parks today. I moved a little further up in the mountains where it's a little cooler, and
Oh,
you
that's
can't
good.
hold the sunlight coming in my bedroom window right now. But I've got big trees on both sides. Almost my
Nice.
entire RV is in the shade now, so that's lovely. But anyway, point being, I will check with the office tomorrow and see if I can receive mail here too. And if so, I'll give you my address.
Okay, because I'd love to send you some goodies.
Very good.
Like, seriously,
Hey, people have needs.
it makes me drool. I love homemade bread. Love it. Fucking love it.
Good. That makes me happy. That's all I want to do in life now. That's what I learned the other weekend. All I want to do is make bread,
Yeah, make people happy.
make people happy, and feed them.
Yeah, there you go.
Hell yeah.
Bread for
You
all.
know, you can have your own little bakery set up. You wouldn't even necessarily need to, like, get a storefront. You could get a cottage license to be able to produce this stuff in your own kitchen at home and sell it. And
Oh, really?
Oh.
yeah.
I
mean-
never heard of that kind of license before.
Well, it might be called something different in your state. I know in Michigan it's
Yeah.
called a cottage license, where it applies whether you have like a big home catering kitchen or something that you've done, like one of my friend's moms did, or if you have a food truck or anything like that. A cottage license covers you for just like you'd have to take the classes for proper food preparation, just like you would to work in a restaurant.
Right.
Sure.
But it's a fairly simple and inexpensive license to get in order to be
Good
able
idea.
to just sell your food.
That's a wonderful idea. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anytime. Yeah, one of my
Yes.
friends has been doing that. He's basically got a little home bakery. He makes gluten-free donuts and stuff like that. Everything's gluten-free. He saw that there was a need for it in the community, and he has expanded. He started out just doing direct delivery around the Flint area to get to, and now he's able to ship stuff out and, serve a greater area, and it's beautiful. It's
That's
definitely
really cool.
something worth looking into.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm literally looking it up right now because, like, I've been thinking about my life and where I'm at and what I love to do, and that's bake all day. And like baker's hours kind of better align with me as a human being because
Yeah,
I
you're
like
definitely an early riser.
I'm an early riser and I'm most productive between 6 a.m. and noon, and anything after that is trash. So I feel like I need to be on that schedule.
Right.
That could be
That would
super
be
fun.
cool. Feed your soul and other people's tummies.
Right? And then if I got big enough, I could like hire people, or I just see people and be like, hey, you want some work? You can come work for me
Right.
for a day or whatever. Whatever
Right.
you need.
Right. Hell yeah. Teach people those cooking skills. Fucking beautiful. Dude, you could even do podcasts while you're baking to show people various recipes and things like that. That would be
Oh,
fun.
that could be cool.
That would be cool.
Dang. This could be huge.
Yeah.
This could save my summer if I could just do something else to supplement or like online. What do you think, Zach?
I like that idea a lot.
I will become the bread witch.
Hell yeah.
But anyway, sorry, that was super off topic. So what did you guys
We're good at
start?
that.
We are good at that. Professional, really.
Right.
So the United Front against it. Well, that's bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, Thomas Sankara came up with that pretty quickly.
It is. It's just shit to keep you down, keep you back. There's only room for 6 bigwigs at the top, and the rest of you can go stick it where the sun don't shine.
Don't forget to work. Make sure those 6 on top get theirs. I mean, yours.
Yeah, but that's just it too. Like, I think about these things a lot. Like, you bust your ass, and like these people that work retail, there's no way you should have to work more than 40 hours a week to afford a 1-bedroom, pay for your transportation, and get food, and still have some left over. That is not unreasonable.
Not at all. Not the slightest bit. When our parents' generation were young, they could go get a job bagging groceries at the local market and be able to afford a home, a vehicle, to pay for their college tuition, and still have some left over to be able to take a fucking vacation every year.
Right?
Right? I mean, shit. My grandparents built their own house. I mean, granted, my grandpa was a carpenter, so he did all of the building himself. I think the only things he had to contract out were like electrical, because he's like, I ain't fucking with that, and a plumber, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
But that house is fantastic. Like, it had a fully finished basement. It was like a rambler, but there was 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. The laundry room was carpeted, finished nice. There's like 2 small areas, and one was like a walk-in storage closet, and the other one was the space where the water heater was that weren't finished.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's beautiful. That's the kind of shit that people should still be able to do.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Or just be able to buy a home. These home prices now are batshit crazy.
Oh, yeah. Market's got to crash sometime soon. And it looks like we're heading towards a recession too, so I'm guessing it's going to be like a big 1-2 punch of housing market crash and recession all at once.
Well,
I love
then
that.
what are they going to do? I don't know what to do. People want a handout.
Yeah.
I'm
I
going to
mean,
be eating popcorn going, hey, welcome to 2008 Part 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, that's just it. I mean, like, too, they're like, oh yeah, everything's great. I have been unemployed for a month. I apply for 20 jobs a day.
Oh, literally, that's not even an exaggeration. You're applying constantly.
I have not found summer employment. I have gone into
Yeah.
places that I have applied to try to like touch base with someone, and people literally cannot stop working long enough to come talk to me for 5 minutes
Yeah.
to set something up.
Even when they have signs on the front door, we're really short-staffed. So sorry. Oh, apply within. We
Yeah.
really need help.
Please help.
Yeah.
Help wanted.
And no one apparently is hiring. It's not that no one is working. It's no one's really hiring. They're just
Because they want to exploit the labor that they have.
right. They just want to use that as an
And
excuse to be
bring in extra
short-handed
money.
because it ends up putting more money in their pockets as
But
owners.
ultimately, it'll take away because at some point people are going to get frustrated with the lack of customer service. And they're going to be like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I know I'd walk away for shitty customer service.
Well,
Right.
Well,
no one said that capitalists were long-term thinkers. So yeah, you're
Well,
definitely right. But-
they always act like they are. They act like they're so just like, oh yeah, and then the trickle down and blah blah blah. And it's like, suck my butt.
Trickle
Nothing's
down my
trickling
leg and tell
down
me it's rain.
like you know the visual of like the stack of wine glasses and everything's pouring into the top one. Well, nothing's trickling down when it's being siphoned out of the top glass into their offshore bank account. Okay,
That's right.
nothing.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
only thing
Yeah.
that might land on your face is their piss.
Pretty
Supposed to
much.
thank you for it.
Yep. All right. Well,
Ridiculous.
let's get back into it.
Uh-oh.
Only 5 minutes left, so I think we can finish it up pretty quick here.
Least Francophone Africa. Comment that's the Africa that speaks French. That is also why it naturally has to pay a larger share here. Mr. President, this is definitely not a provocation. I would like you to offer us some very intelligent solutions. I would want our conference to take on the urgent need to plainly say that we cannot repay the debt. Not in a warlike or bellicose spirit, but to prevent us from being individually assassinated. If Burkina Faso stands alone in refusing to pay, I will not be here for the next conference. But with everyone's support, which I need, with the support of everyone, we would not have to pay. In doing so, we would devote our meager resources to our own development. And I would like to...
Yeah. So basically a debt strike. He's like, we all should just say no more. We're not going to pay back your debts. Screw you guys. You all can just try and take it from us, but you're going to be out of business before that happens anyway. So
Right.
good luck.
If
And
anything,
that's true.
If
Go ahead.
anything, the exploiters in Europe who have profited greatly off of all of the rare minerals and rare metals and things like that they have robbed Africa of, they should be paying those areas back
Oh yeah.
for everything that they fucking stole.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cruel how reparations only go when they actually happen. They only go to the exploiters and never the exploited, or rarely to the exploited,
Right.
and then it's often reversed later on.
We've seen who these bailouts are for.
That's right. That's true. If we all got together and decided to organize like a student debt strike, wouldn't matter what Joe Biden did. We would just
that?
bankrupt, Fannie and Freddie and Sally and all those other
Can we do
Max
that?
and Mays. We can do that. We could do that. We could collectively decide we're not going to pay this back.
That's what I
And there'd be
decide every
nothing-
time.
It's just like we could do a general strike too, and withhold our labor from all these places until they make every business into a worker cooperative.
Yep.
Or
Yeah. Like,
or do away with private property altogether. There's any number of things we could all do if we just had enough of us together, standing in solidarity and not breaking the line.
well, that's just it. Like, what is wrong with the people who are the reason you have a business in the first place, having a little more say in what goes on? I mean, shit. When I worked for Starbucks, I think I definitely had a better idea of what was going on the front lines than the store manager
Oh,
or the
yeah.
district manager did. I was seeing what kind of traffic, what kind of product was moving. It's like, shit. I can tell you exactly, you need to buy X number of boxes of chocolate, and oh, this is a special sale time, you're going to need to triple that.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes, they go through it.
Yeah. So same thing when I worked at Panera. Our general manager was completely incompetent. Like, the one good thing he could do was hire good people. But everyone else ran that store for him, and he was screwing up constantly. Every time he had to come do the register, he'd have a panic attack, basically, and like, oh, I don't know what's going on here, and then like get really nervous, and we'd have to come in and take over for him again. Like, yeah, I've been in plenty of jobs where all the workers knew much more about running that place than the people that put in charge of it.
And I mean, that's just it. Like, support looks different in different situations. Even when I think about like the leftist movement in and of itself, there are definitely people that are more willing to put themselves out on the front line of physical harm for the cause than others. I'll admit, I'm not one to put myself in that kind of position, just currently being uninsured and things like that are high risk situation, but I have no hesitation complaining online, posting things, emailing people, continuing to email people.
Yeah.
Hell, I'd even go door to door. Like,
Well, sure, and there's different roles that people can play. It doesn't all.
Right.
Not everyone has to do the same thing.
exactly, and that's the whole point of it though, is like businesses have all these moving parts, different people, they're good at different things, all parts are necessary
For sure.
to make things run well, and they should be treated thusly.
Yep. It's one of those things that I think we were discussing 3 or 4 weeks ago of like an hour of my time in labor. It's no different than an hour of your time in labor or your time in labor.
Mm-hmm.
And those things should be when it comes to how they are valued. And every bit of that that's brought to the table is fucking important, is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
We all have different skill sets we can bring to the things forward. It's every fucking important.
Exactly. That's like hammer on the head of the nail. Like,
Yep.
perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not everyone can be a doctor. A doctor is necessary. Not everyone can be a garbage man.
A garbage man.
But a
is
garbage
necessary.
man is necessary.
Oh yeah.
Without both of these people, society would struggle.
Yeah.
And smell like shit.
Yep.
Yep.
You know, during the pandemic, it really revealed who the essential workers were, the people that had to go into work. And it's kind of funny how many, hoity-toity sort of positions were either eliminated or could just be done from home and without much effort and stuff like that. And yet, here we were on the front lines as essential workers, not getting better compensation.
Mm-hmm.
Risking our lives. But yeah, but it did show for sure that all these sorts of jobs that people spit upon all the time and say, oh, that's only for high school kids and it's just to get them to learn the value of a dollar and all these
But that's just it. They
BS
don't learn
reasons.
the value of a dollar through having a job. Like,
Right.
No.
I'm sorry, they just don't.
No. Well, and also, all those people that make that argument are really just saying it's okay to exploit people as long as they're kids.
That's all that ever says to me. Oh, so you think that children owe you cheap fucking labor? You're
right. Right. It's like we did away with child labor a long time ago, so why is it okay to still keep that last vestige of it where we can still exploit the hell out of kids that are in high school? It's like, do you want them to do the job? Then they should be compensated for that job.
Also,
And there's no other job where they're like, well, what's your home life like? We're going to base our compensation on that.
well, that's
It's
just it.
only
Like,
these entry level
let me pull the race card up a minute, because think about it.
Okay, go ahead.
How many black kids are having to work while they're in school because of the stressful home situations they're in because of the systemic racism that we have in society that oppresses them and their families.
Yeah.
And you're having 16-year-olds that are trying to get through high school, they're trying to get it together, but they're also trying to help out at home because mom's never there and they have younger siblings, but they aren't making ends meet on the bills. Get it together.
Yeah. Why is it okay to exploit those people?
Yeah, Why is it okay to exploit this kid? This kid's got so many balls up in the air you don't even know. So shut up and sit down and pay someone a living wage.
Right.
Right. Don't care
Right.
how old they are. Don't care what job role it is. It fucking is just astounding that so many people are like, yes, I demand that this service be available, but I want to also fucking tell these people,
Not
this
pay.
service industry, whether it be in a store, in a restaurant, or whatever, I'd like to sit here and fucking be a cunt and tell them that their labor is not valuable. I demand that their service be there for me, though. Those are cunts. Can't understand normal thinking. It's fucking audacity that I'm like, I don't know where you found it, but turn the fuck around and put it back, because nobody deserves for their labor to be exploited. And
Absolutely.
Right.
it's like all of these jobs that those cunts want to call, those are jobs for teenagers, and it's like, why are the majority of these jobs filled by people in their 30s and 40s?
Yeah.
Because it's
Right.
a job. It's just a job.
And retirement age people, because they can no longer work at whatever job they had, but they still need to have an income because
Right, because they
Social
can't
Security
retire
is
for
not
whatever
enough.
reason.
Right.
Like, it's bullshit, but also, like, another lovely capitalist principle, you get what you fucking pay for. So if you're going to pay somebody $7 an hour, you shouldn't be expecting high quality work. But at the same time, if you truly care about your business and you want to be seen like a person, maybe you think you'd invest a little more in.
Right.
Hey, I'm going to pay you $20 an hour, but I expect more from you.
Well, I mean, unfortunately,
Or-
so many of us have been completely, we've internalized these capitalist talking points that we work these jobs and don't feel that we deserve to have more compensation because we've just internalized all the put downs and the denigration that has been cast upon us, and that's something that needs to change with workers. We need to take pride in being workers that provide essential goods and services to people, and we shouldn't let anyone tell us that we're worth less or that we don't deserve to live.
Or like taking vacation. I mean, shit, this is something that I have recently personally struggled with. So like I have work lined up, but I don't start until the end of August, like September, right? And I did not tell them that I would need time off, and I had a freak out because I didn't tell them and they could say no. And now what am I going to do? What if I lose this job? Everything's going to fall apart again. Like these are things that you have to think about though. That's how my
Yeah.
brain is wired because I'm like,
Well, and because we have very little protections as workers in the United
Peasants.
States. Well, but especially in the United States, like plenty of European countries, France, even the UK, have a lot more protections for workers. So like, they wouldn't be able to get away with firing you for asking for time off. But not here.
right. Like,
That's
Alright.
so, I would just say if that is a concern, maybe bring it to their attention as soon as possible.
well, and
if
that's my
you pull the
intent.
fucking rug out from under you and be like, well, sorry, you can't have the job because you need that time off. Okay, give yourself as much room as possible to replace that fucking job.
Right. And that's just it too, right? Like as soon as I have a firm date, I'm going to bring it up. And hopefully it won't be a thing. But I like to be proactive because you're like, you know.
Yeah, because you're working without a safety net. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Living in America.
That's living in America.
Living in America.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I love
You're
it.
welcome.
Let's get back to the text. We only have a few minutes left, so let's do it.
Conclude by saying that each time an African country buys a weapon, it is against an African country. It is not against a European country. It is not against an Asian country. It is against an African country. Consequently, we should take advantage of the debt issue to solve the weapons problem. I am a soldier and I carry a gun, but Mr. President, I would want us to disarm, because I carry the only gun I have, and others have concealed guns or weapons that they have. So, my dear brothers, with everyone's support, we will make peace at home. We will also make use of our immense potentialities to develop Africa because our soil and subsoil are rich. We have enough bodies and a vast market from north to south, east to west. We have enough intellectual capacity to create, or at the very least, use technology and science from wherever we find it. Mr. President, let us form this Addis Ababa United Front Against Debt. Let's make the commitment to limiting armaments amongst weak and poor countries. The clubs and knives we buy are useless. Let's also make the African market be the market for Africans. Produce in Africa, transform in Africa, consume in Africa. Let's produce what we need, and let's consume what we produce instead of importing. Burkina Faso came here showing the cotton fabric produced in Burkina Faso, weaved in Burkina Faso, sewn in Burkina Faso, to dress citizens of Burkina Faso. Our delegation and I are dressed by our weavers, our peasants. There's not a single thread coming from Europe or America. I would not do a fashion show, but I would simply say that we must accept to live as African. That is the only way to live free and dignified. I thank you, Mr. President. Patrie or death, we will overcome. And that's the end of the audiobook.
All right, made it through.
And now we're back.
Do you just want to have like a karaoke hour at some point on the stream?
Yeah.
That could be, you know what? Music and dancing can be huge parts of mental health.
Yeah.
So you could definitely have a head theory DJ night.
Makes you feel better.
You would just have to have it be well, I mean, unless you're singing yourself. But if you want to play real music, you can do that on it, but you just can't save the recording of it. That's the only thing. But you can do it. You can have the live DJ experience.
Twitch is always trying to suppress me,
Yeah.
oppress me.
Nervous.
Yeah, y'all get nervous because you can't handle us. They ain't ready. Should get ready. Better watch out.
Right.
So, any more thoughts about the book you read tonight?
Debt sucks. Get rid of it.
That's right. That's right.
Same for colonialism.
Yeah,
Colonize.
that's right. Kick it all out.
Yeah. Colonialism sucks. Get rid of it.
Man, just reading about Thomas Sankara's life, like, he's one of those revolutionaries where you really got to wonder what Burkina Faso would have become had he not been killed in such an untimely manner. Like, he was in his 30s. He could easily still be alive today if it were not for that assassination.
I think people are just so afraid of what they don't understand that they never stop to, like, question.
Yeah.
What am I afraid of?
Well, I mean, that's the entire reactionary point of view is change bad, I afraid, you know, like, got to oppose just as a knee-jerk reaction.
Tell her we said hi.
Yeah, Nate says the missus is listening, and she's like, holy shit, he's right.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Hell
Thank
yeah.
you so much.
Aww. You guys are so loved. That's nice. Like, gosh, I think about religion sometimes too, right? Like, people think that Christianity is just this, like, oh, everything's great with it. And it's like, and I'm sure there are some sects or branches of it that are fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that Quakerism, to a certain extent, Unitarian, Unitarian? Is that what it's called?
Unitarian, yeah.
Unitarianism. Catholic workers, that's another good group. They're based
Catholicism is scary though. Like of
no,
all
but Catholic workers is very different. They are
I
based
know.
on anarchic principles applied to
I
Catholicism.
was making a joke.
Oh,
I've had some. Yeah.
oh, is a pun coming up? Are you teeing up a pun here?
No, but I could if you'd really like one.
Okay.
No, I was just thinking about like the experiences I've had with Catholicism, and that it's just very like, if you're not part of it, you can't be doing these things. Like, you know, I walk in and there's like the magic fountain of special Jesus water or whatever. I'm like, oh,
The
You haven't
baptismal
taken
font?
confirmation classes. You can't have that.
right, like you can't touch that. Or when they pass around like the Christ cookies and juice, like, oh, you can't have those either. And it's like, if you want to try to indoctrinate people into this shit, maybe you should share your juice and cookies.
Yeah, but
Dude,
you wouldn't be going in believing that it's literally transmuting into the flesh and blood of Christ.
No, but I would think these people gave me cookies and that was real nice.
it's
supposed
funny.
to
I
be
saw
a wafer.
the other day. So there's this gang in my neighborhood that is like, you know, rounding people up to join them by threat of, you know, violence and shit. But enough about the church. And I was that.
I mean, it's not wrong. Yeah, they're like evangelicals. Yeah, they threaten you with eternal damnation, which is
Right.
like, in a way, even worse than death because it's for eternity.
Right. Like, that's not how you get people in. That is not
I mean, it is.
enticing.
It's how you scare people in.
No, but that is not a healthy relationship. That's abuse.
Sure,
Yeah.
I agree with that, but it is also effective. I mean, there's a reason that there's so many Catholics around the
Like,
world.
Think about
That's part of it.
communism. Communism is about sharing and taking care of people. All of the people.
Yeah.
Not just.
People don't
you know.
believe that though.
Right.
They think it's just
It's
about.
like- Communism is like, I got some cookies. Do y'all want a cookie? You look hungry. Would you like a cookie? Oh, you're feeling full right now, but you know your next door neighbor wants a cookie? Well, you're going to go give them a cookie then.
Right. That's why, like, even if somebody was the most hardcore fucking capitalist out there,
Mhm.
I would still be like, well, have a plentiful harvest. Take some food
Right.
home. Show them the difference.
Right.
Sometimes words can only go so far, and it's a matter of, here, let me show you how we see this being an improvement. And it's because even your capitalist ass ain't gonna go without food during a shortage. We'll still feed you too. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I love about mutual aid. It's that it's very simplistic, and it's there's no means test. They don't make you prove that you're deserving of it because
Right, and that's the thing. You
Oh, I
have
guess
to
it's from the
prove.
top.
Sorry. I'm really mad about this. You shouldn't have to prove your worth. Like, hey, please, pick me. Fuck you. Everybody gets it. End of story. You don't like it? Go home.
Like, you don't have to
Yeah.
prove a need. You're a human being. You
Yes.
live in an electrified fucking meat suit that needs nutrients
Right.
to put in it to keep going.
Yeah, that's proof enough in my book. Yeah.
Right. That's
You
right.
exist.
So yeah, I love
Therefore,
that.
you have
So
to speak.
you don't have to believe any certain thing. You don't have to say any
You just have to
prayer
believe
or
you believe
affirmation. You just got to show up and not be a dick to people when you do. And that's pretty much the only rules of being part of mutual
Right.
aid.
Right.
It's like, even
you
if you're a
can-
dick, it's like, okay, would you just take your food and go?
Yeah, right.
Right. Like, you can go back to your McMansion and fuck off. I don't have time for you right now, but here's some food.
Right. Like, please go eat. You sound hangry.
Yeah.
Right? Looks like you need a snack.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. One of my favorite meme pages on Facebook is called "You're Not You When You Hunger for the Flesh of the Bourgeoisie."
That's okay. That's a little horrifying because I've been reading about cannibals a lot lately in my spare time, which is excessive.
And,
That's-
well, if we just eat one billionaire, one of
Yeah.
them, not
That's
only
it.
would we
That's a
help the
Huge
environment,
step. Mm-hmm.
but we would scare the ever living fuck out of the rest of them. Like, hey, maybe you should stop exploiting people before you end up on the barbecue too.
Yeah.
Could we just cook one and feed it to the others?
Sure.
I mean,
I don't want any. I don't want to eat that.
No.
I really don't either. It would need a lot of seasoning, some tenderizing. They probably don't taste good. Think of how bitter
There's
they
not enough marbling.
Yeah.
There's not enough marbling.
Right, this meat might not be
man.
tender. It could be full of GMOs. Maybe we should, make them free-range vegans for a little while to detox their meat first.
I think it's going to take a long time to detox that shit. Just saying. Between
Right.
all the booze and the coke that they're filled with, I'm just saying.
That's true.
I don't know if that's the kind of thing that burns off upon cooking, like other alcohol. You know, when you cook with alcohol and you,
No,
If,
I don't
you know.
think so.
Yeah,
I agree with you, Nate. Nate says that's why I hate the purity test shit that the left does. I agree with that too. You know, I think if you want to be a part of the left and you're sincere, you're not just doing it to, I don't know, meet girls or something like that. But you actually want to be. I mean, there's a whole lot of leftists who are in that camp, unfortunately. But yeah, if you seriously just want to help other people and be part of it, I think you should be able to, even if you don't have all the right politics figured out yet, even if you haven't read a word of theory, whatever. I think it takes the mentality and just having an open heart to it.
What the fuck, neighbors?
I'm happy. Better be leaving my stuff alone. Don't touch my little baby.
Someone
Go
else.
check to make sure the catalytic converter's still there.
Oh, well, we got a razor blade plate installed on our catalytic converter now
Yeah.
No.
because we had it stolen twice.
Try it again. Actually, don't. Just leave me
Yeah,
alone.
you don't try it again. Just leave us alone.
Just leave me and my stickers alone. Like, I'm trying to make my car look really fruity so that maybe people don't want to touch it.
Okay.
You know, rainbows freak people out. So if I just cover that car in rainbows,
So you think these thieves are going car to car and assessing their sticker situation and like, oh, I don't know if I agree with those politics. I would better just move on.
yeah. Yeah, I do.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
They're probably like, that car's looking a little...
No, don't do that.
Ow.
Why are you doing this? Don't.
I'm sorry.
Moving on.
Anyway, it's very colorful and very obvious. And if somebody's going to start taking parts, I'm going to notice now because I got stickers on everything.
Okay.
Maybe put a sticker on the back that says, "Don't fuck with my catalytic converter or you're going to get fucked up." And leave it at
Yeah.
that. And then if they
Yeah.
go and touch the razor blade, they can fuck themselves up. Fuck around and find out.
Well, I mean, supposedly people have been putting stickers on when they get this plate put on. They're like, we got a plate over our converter, and maybe it does help people just like move on. And
I feel like
not
it's
even try.
advertising. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they know you have a catalytic converter. That's not a secret. So
Right.
I don't know.
Simple.
Anyway,
terminals.
hasn't been stolen since we got the plate put on.
Why you
so.
gotta say that
Yeah.
out loud? I'm superstitious.
I hear one of you knocking on wood.
I'm knocking too. We're both knocking.
Yeah. Gotta stay safe. Be superstitious.
Right.
Yeah.
Ah. But the purity test stuff is just,
Yeah.
it's
Like,
stupid.
it's for people that just get into politics because they like drama and they like stirring shit up
We
and
gotta
like,
keep
like
people
feeling
down.
better than other people, even though you're part of supposedly an organization that's anti-hierarchical. But
They aren't, because they take the donations, they do the things, they make the laws, they just pose when it's like, February's Black History Month, okay! And then, like, June is Pride Month, okay! And then the rest of the year, they're like, fuck you! Or every actual impactful decision I make isn't going to factor those marginalized communities in. But who cares, because I got all this money and these big donors.
oh, you're talking about politicians now?
Yeah.
I was just talking about
It's part of it.
loose groups, but yeah.
it's
Oh,
being
sorry.
exploited in merchandise too, because okay, look, like all of these companies that every June they're like, let's rainbow everything, and they just
God.
want to fucking profiteer off of it. It's like, how much of those profits are actually going to help the LGBTQ community?
Zero. The answer is zero.
Right. And why aren't they sharing more information about what all of those things under the LGBTQIA are? Because I bet people couldn't say what it was.
Yeah, people still
Right.
don't
I
understand.
mean, I don't even think I know all of them. I think I might know more than most, but not all.
Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, queer,
Questioning.
That's clear.
or questioning,
Well, that one's under the banner
sex,
too.
asexual.
Yeah. And then plus.
But a lot of people don't know like what those terms even necessarily mean.
Right.
Right.
And the asexual thing I've recently learned really is a large net. There's a lot of subcategories under that
Oh, yeah.
banner of ace itself.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But people don't know that. They're just like, "Yay, rainbow's so cute."
Right.
I
Like
mean,
education leads to awareness. We need this because awareness then leads to acceptance. It's about time to put the fucking bigotry to bed.
right.
Sorry.
For sure.
It's like, push it all the time. Bring it up all the time. Don't just limit it to this one window. I mean, I was in Target today waiting for my eye appointment and saw a big rainbow jug that said cheers. Am I allowed to say the Q word? Or is
I would stay away
I
from
get
that.
that- Okay.
I mean, probably so,
The
but
ri-
let's just.
the
avoid it.
LGBT word that rhymes with cheers. And it said cheers on it. And I was like, what the?
It used to be used as an insult, but it's one
Right,
of those
that one
things
I'm
that
like-
we've been like, yeah,
Yeah, it's been reclaimed.
it's not an insult, and I don't know what you call it, like taking the word back of like, no, this is something that I will gladly fucking own. It's one of those things that applies on a broader spectrum. Like, you could be genderqueer, or you could be queer as in anywhere along that gay spectrum. Where, like, for example, I'm bisexual, pansexual, whatever you want to call it. I guess I would say pan because, bi typically means you date men and women. I've
Yeah.
dated non-binary people too. So, that is one flavor. And I own it.
Yeah.
And I'm with that.
Right.
Nobody's going to fucking insult me by calling queer. Be like, yeah,
Mhm.
yep, I am. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's like, again, you're giving information, right? You're teaching people because, like, when I used to hear that word all the time, it was always used as a slur. So it's like, why would you say that? Like, what business is
Right.
like?
Right. Instead of trying to be cute and clever, they could have just put on the sign Happy Pride Month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Or just not try to pander at all. I mean, that'd be cool too.
right. Like, I mean, I won't lie. I think some of that stuff's a little cute. I like a rainbow pillow,
Sure.
Hell yeah.
but I'm gonna like rainbows all the time, and not just for the month of June.
Not just in June. Like, you see, I have hella rainbow stuff going on.
Right?
I love bright colors. That's
Yeah.
not up in June. That's up around the fucking clock every day, 24/7, 365. Except when it goes in the wash. But,
Sure. But that's just it. Like, it's you. It's your things. It's all the time.
Great.
Like, I'm a recovering goth girl Halloween freak, and
Recovering.
That look on your face. Like, really? How far have you recovered?
Yeah. I would say more like denial.
Hey, we could go back to high school. I could
That's
wear
fine.
I-
You go get your pants that can
I'll
fit
go
a
get my-
family of 4 and
a family of
family
five,
of 5.
Jinkos.
Yeah.
I'll
love
get my
Jinkos.
Jinkos. I will go
Go get
get.
your lace choker.
I didn't wear lace choker. I wear studded bracelets and belts.
Studded bracelets and
I'll
belts.
get my electric blue hair and my black spooky shirt. And
Did you have a
will
wallet
deal that.
change?
No, but I wanted one really bad. We couldn't wear them in school because they were wet bait.
They were disallowed at our school because someone might choke somebody.
Like might?
Well, yeah, with that, no wonder they were banned. Jeez.
I didn't do it.
Yep, right.
That innocent little voice, like I didn't do it.
I didn't do it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Like that it's cute.
Right? And it goes with my ensemble, black and silver. Like,
Right.
I don't know.
Man,
I gotta stay on brand.
that's me.
They are coming back.
They're making a comeback.
I just want them to figure out what to do about puddles and rainy days, because I don't think you should limit your jinkos to when it's sunny out.
Always roll them up, you know.
This is true. I don't know.
It's
I
so
just
hot,
got
though.
constantly wash my jeans because I was not going to have them too short. Like, nope, that kind of ruins the look. They're supposed to be dragging on the fucking ground. So if they get muddy, they get muddy. They're going in the wash.
Right? They're like $225 now. They're crazy spendy.
What?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm on their website right now. That's nuts.
That's
That's
crazy.
stupid. Come on, Janko. Who the fuck? Can't nobody afford
Yeah,
that
don't. They got plaid ones. They got vintage plaid jinkos, like gray. Oh man,
Okay. I think we should probably wrap
capitalism
it up
is
because
winning.
it is getting close to our bedtime.
There ain't
So-
no bedtime. We got stuff to do.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Anyway, thank you both for coming on the show. I really appreciate it and your input, as always. Took the conversation to some interesting places this time, so.
I'm not going to be invited back in here anymore.
You're welcome back anytime, you know it.
You don't need invited. That's your home too.
That's right.
Like Monday and Wednesday's going to be like, get out.
You're always welcome. I always love the tangents we end up on.
Right.
So from Pan-Africanism to Jinko jeans making a comeback. We cover the entire gamut. But anyway, yeah. Thank you, Trisha, for being on.
Thank you for having me.
And are you guys doing Head Theory tomorrow night?
I think we should.
I think you should too.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, join.
We should message,
Yes.
figure out our
coordinate.
menu options we're gonna roll with tomorrow.
Yes.
Very good. All right, so yeah, tune back in, everybody. Tomorrow night, around the same time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, for some more discussion of mental health from a leftist perspective. The lovely ladies of Head Theory.
Head Theory.
Yeah, you guys need a theme song. So you can like, cause if you want to make like a little video, like an intro video, you can go right ahead and you can play it and stuff.
She's got something. Hold on.
Oh, you do?
Yes. Chuck has been making some awesome fucking electronic music and sending me clips and stuff, and he said that we can use it for the show. So I have some music to send you to cut an intro video with.
Very cool.
Thank you, Chuck.
All right.
That's so
thank you.
nice.
That's exciting.
Fucking awesome.
Everybody's so cool and so creative and nice.
Hell yeah. And dude, I think you're gonna dig the music that he sent me. Like there's a few things I'll send over so we can take our pick. But yeah, skilled. And an awesome vibe. Like,
Yeah. Well, cool. I look forward to hearing that. Seeing the new intros.
That's great. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry.
All right. Well, we'll say goodbye to you tonight, though, Trisha, and
Yes.
see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
All right. Thank you all for joining. Yeah, check out Left Signal Boost TV once more on Facebook. You can see more
Check
of
it out.
Amanda dancing.
Check it out.
I'll link it once more in the chat for We Are Many, which is what Trisha is a part of is also a member of Left Signal Boost TV. So we have quite a few collective members now. And yeah, trying to push back against the right-wing loving Facebook algorithm.
And also, if you weren't aware, there's a swag store now for Bread Theory.
Yep, you can buy Bread Theory merchandise. There's swag. There's links from the page, and then also you can just go. I think it cycles through on the auto messages, but you can just go to Stream Elements. I think / Bread Theory, something like that. You can find it on Stream Elements as well. But yeah, cool new and embroidered hats with the channel logo and T-shirts and all sorts of cool stuff there. So,
and there might be some enamel pins coming.
Yeah, I'm thinking about investing in enamel pins and maybe getting a higher tier for the Patreon and have that be the reward. So yeah, one more reason to sign up for the Patreon too.
Yep.
All right.
Just keep on going, moving the bread train. We proof it.
See you tomorrow. Bye. Are you gonna say goodbye?
No.
No, I would never say
Just
goodbye.
kidding. Never.
Here's your chance. I'm gonna end the stream.
I'll be back tomorrow.
That totally wasn't corny. So good way to.
And so will Zen.
Okay.
With company.
Oh.
You will watch it. You will love it. Okay, fine, bye.
Are you done? Okay.
No.